Hello YouTube and welcome back to World of Warships with Wadrace. And today's video comes to you from the decks of the Tier 10 Imperial Japanese battleship Yamato. I am running her today with a 16 skill captain with advanced firing training, basic firing training, manual fire control for secondary armament, adrenaline rush, expert marksman, and direction center for catapult aircraft. I am also running her with the modules Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 1, Secondary Batteries Mod 3, Concealment Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, and Main Battery Mod 2. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is that I am running her with a rather unique camouflage. This is the Azure Lane camouflage, and I do have to say that this camouflage is a very, very gnarly and aggressive looking camo. And we are on the map Shatter today. Now, in my previous video, one of my watchers commented that he couldn't see my clan tag. And, well, I am in a clan. My clan is DDD, or Devilish Dogs of Destruction, and I actually am in this match with one of my clanmates, JMH2000. And I will be making a nod to him in the chat here very, very shortly. Just because it was rather interesting that I happened to end up on the same match, or on the same map with him when I was not in division. Now, I will also go ahead and say that this is not exactly the most interesting of Yamato battles. It certainly does have its little moments, but one of the things I've noticed is because I am a substantially more aggressive player, I really don't benefit a whole lot from using this ship because, one, it has a very slow reload, its turrets, even with all kinds of commander skills and modifications, really don't turn all that fast, and it just really doesn't, well, let's just say it doesn't benefit my playstyle very well. I mean, yeah, sure, the 480 millimeter guns certainly go a long way as far as being able to overpen just about anything that comes against me head on. But again, just the sheer reload and turret rotation time take away a lot of its advantages in that sense. Now, I can understand the extended reload time because they are very big, heavy shells. And if it had reload times like, say, those of the Iowa or lower caliber battleships, it would be substantially overpowered. But overall, it definitely has its strong points, just nothing that really benefits my playstyle again. And it does have accuracy, but that accuracy can also have a little bit of a downside as well, because when trying to shoot at long range, the shots are generally going to go where you're wanting them, and if ships are maneuvering, well, you kind of rely a little bit on extra dispersion to make up for some of that, well, yeah. And as you can see, I am reasonably decent with my shots. I do get at least one shot in on the Hindenburg, but dispersion doesn't really play much in my favor there. I only get 5,000 to a single shell. I mean, granted, what I'm complaining about, it's some 20 kilometers out. And just kind of, otherwise I'm just kind of stuck in a position where I really don't have anything visible to shoot at. And I'm not really wanting to use these batteries for blind fire just because they take, again, they take so long to reload. But I am going to have some targets to give some attention to before too long here anyway, so I shouldn't be complaining. do try to take one more shot at the Hindenburg. At least I think that's what it was at long range, but my clanmate takes it out, and my shells are not even halfway to it. But coming around this corner here is the enemy Zao. And if anybody knows anything about the Yamato, it can definitely punish cruisers at just about any angle, even just without penetrations, and I certainly knock a healthy bit off of that Zao. Fortunately, I don't get any citadels, but it was a little bit angled, and I was probably just not giving it enough lead or something. But I will actually get to finish it off here in a moment anyway. One main battery, citadel, first kill. I can be happy with that. And I do try to put the remaining 2 batteries into the enemy Neptune, which unfortunately does get away pretty much unscathed. Don't worry, I will be seeing substantially more of that Neptune with time. I do try to give my attention to the enemy Iowa over here, but regardless of how I look at him or what I try to do, the enemy Iowa really just kind of ends up being a little bit too difficult to judge the distance on my shots, and, well, a little bit too difficult to judge the distance on that shot at least, but beyond that, it's just sticking behind islands, and I never really get another clear shot at it. I do spend the vast majority of this match pretty much idle, just trying to find and get into range of targets, or more accurately, trying to actually get into the point where I can effectively target enemy ships, I should say. Finding them isn't so much the problem as actually having a clear shot on them, in most cases. Unfortunately, my clanmate has bitten the dust on the other side of the map. He was just a little bit overwhelmed, too many targets, and he had just a couple too many ineffective bots on that side of the map to assist him. Would I have gone that way? In hindsight, maybe, but that being said, I spawned on the opposite side of the map, and getting over there to offer him any support at all would have been... it probably would not have been advisable, simply because the Yamato is not the fastest ship in the world. And while it would have certainly kept me in a target-rich environment, again, the Yamato is not exactly the most maneuverable or even the fastest ship. Trying to get over there in time, or being able to get over there, just might not have happened as well as I would have liked, as far as being able to offer him any assistance. And speaking of the Yamato not being terribly maneuverable, the only reason I even managed to avoid any of those torpedoes coming in was because I was watching that torpedo squadron come in, and I was already steering towards them before they were even in range to drop torpedoes. If I hadn't been paying any attention at all, it's very likely that I would have eaten 3 or 4 torpedoes there easily. I do wait for the dive bombers to come through before I actually set my damage control to kill any of the fires. Fortunately, I didn't flood with any of the torpedoes, because otherwise that would have called out my damage control a lot earlier, but then I would have been stuck with at least 2 fires. And I really don't want to be doing that, even if I am in easily the one of the healthiest ships in the game. And 3 ships left. Enemy Neptune, I told you he was going to be coming back, and the enemy Yamato, the 2 closest. Of course, the enemy CV is sitting all the way in the back where I'm not really able to do much about it. Don't even have a line of sight in on it anyway. But this is where this match actually gets interesting, because I have the Neptune and I have the Yamato both in this narrow alley. I do try to take a shot at the enemy Yamato, get a bow pen, but not really lucky in that regard. I do overshoot and kind of end up behind the island, so I don't have another shot at it. But this Neptune, if this were a player, I would be saying he was one lucky bastard, because just how long it takes me to take this Neptune out is absolutely insane. I missed the first shot. Second shot does kinda hit, but it bounces off the armor belt. This salvo does finally at least do something, and I do manage to pick it off with the two front guns. But that being said, it just took me way too long to get anything done on it. Fortunately, it dropped its torpedoes into the island, so I'm now setting up to take on the enemy Yamato. But because I was turning to deal with Neptune and with thought that maybe it was going to drop some torpedoes on me, and, well, the CV does, I actually put myself into a very bad position in dealing with the enemy Yamato. It's bow on, and the one thing I didn't realize was that I was rather close to the island here. So I pull a Notzer, and right in front of the enemy Yamato. Which, yeah, I don't think there was anything in the world that would have stopped the ram from happening at that point. Now, fortunately, it does take the enemy Yamato out with me because we are ships of equal base health, but at the same time I do have to feel a little bit aggravated that it ended up that way. Granted, the match was almost over. The only ship left is the enemy CV, and the friendly battleship that's left on the map is an Iowa. And if there is any ship that can handle a CV, it's definitely an Iowa-class battleship. Though I do have to wonder a little bit about his captain specs, because he doesn't really seem to do too well knocking aircraft out of the sky. But that's another matter entirely. Even the base anti-air stats on an Iowa are enough to handle a CV. Though I will definitely say he does certainly take his time handling the CV. But all in all, it wasn't exactly a bad match. It was certainly the best match I had that day in the Yamato. Certainly wasn't for lack of trying. And but yeah, that's the match, and that's me and the Yamato. On that note, I earned 195,000 credits for the match, 3,400 experience points. I earned 813 base experience points with 18 aircraft shot down and 2 kills. That's almost twice the amount of base experience as the friendly Iowa, who came in second. 170,000 damage done to the enemy. And when I get there, my actual credit earnings were 21,000 for the match, and my commander earned 4,000 experience points. On that note, that's the match, and I will catch you all next time.